Senior observer Calvran slid his withered fingers across the holographic interface, flicking through the routine monitoring reports that had filled his final days before retirement. After 6 centuries in the Galactic Collective's Protocol Enforcement Division, he had earned the right to coast through these last assignments. The data stream paused on an anomalous reading from System G7329, a distant star system deemed uninhabitable in initial surveys, energy signatures emanating from a moon designated Io orbiting the 4th planet, a massive gas giant. The signatures showed deliberate modulation patterns, inconsistent with any known natural phenomenon. "Computer, verify authenticity of these readings," Calvran commanded, his 4 hearts quickening slightly. Readings verified. Signal pattern contained structured information consistent with artificial origin, the computer replied. Calvran's azure skin paled. In 9,000 years of the Great Silence Protocol, only 17 species had been officially contacted after reaching the stringent technological benchmarks. Hundreds more remained under observation, their existence unknown to them. But G7329 wasn't even on the monitoring list for potential intelligence. Its planets were either radiation-scorched wastelands or turbulent gas giants. Nothing should live there, let alone transmit signals. When he reported the anomaly to Archmonitor Xtalia, her reaction disturbed him more than the readings themselves. Classification Omega. Transfer all data to my personal terminal, she ordered, multifaceted eyes narrowing. And observer Calvran, this is not to be mentioned in your final reports. 50 years of increasing suspicion crystallized in that moment. Retiring or not, Calvran's oath to the collective demanded truth. 3 cycles later, his personal scout vessel emerged from hyperspace at the edge of G7329. Officially, he was conducting a final patrol of Sector 19. Officially, his navigational error would be noted and forgiven, given his long service. The gas giant loomed in his view screen, bands of swirling storms circling its massive bulk. Calvran adjusted his sensors toward the innermost moon, a hellscape of volcanic activity and toxic atmosphere where temperatures and radiation should prohibit any form of advanced technology. What he saw froze all 4 of his hearts mid-beat. Structures, unmistakable artificial structures built into the moon's surface. Heat shields deflecting volcanic outbursts. Energy collectors harnessing the very chaos that should destroy them. And more impossibly, movement. Vehicles traversing the surface. Beings in protective suits performing maintenance on exterior equipment. Impossible, he whispered, increasing magnification. No species attempts colonization before mastering faster-than-light travel. It's never been done. Yet here was evidence contradicting 10 millennia of established sociological theory. His ship's communication array activated suddenly, automatically translating an intercepted transmission. Io Colony to Europa Station. We've registered an anomalous object near the L1 point. Unknown design. Definitely not one of ours. First Contact Protocol Delta is now in effect. Calvran's hands trembled. They had detected him. Worse, they had protocols for this situation. The implications were staggering. These beings had prepared for extraterrestrial contact, despite being confined to a single star system. His secure communication terminal chimed. Archmonitor Xtalia's identification flashed across the screen. Return immediately, observer. You have violated direct orders. Calvran stared at the structures defying everything he knew to be possible. At the beings surviving where survival should be impossible. At the work of a species that had never been contacted, never been guided, never even been properly observed. For the first time in 6 centuries of service, senior observer Calvran ignored a direct order. Instead, he moved his ship closer to the impossible colony on Io. The millennia of silence were about to end. Calvran's vessel maintained its position at the edge of Io's sulfurous atmosphere, passive scanners recording everything. The more he observed, the more his understanding of technological progression collapsed. These beings, humans, according to their transmissions, had conquered one of the most hostile environments in their solar system without the prerequisite technologies the collective deemed necessary. No artificial gravity, no antimatter containment, no faster-than-light communications, yet here they thrived, defying conventional wisdom. His attention focused on a slender figure in a uniquely designed pressure suit moving across an exterior platform. The suit was impossibly thin for the environment, utilizing some form of energy field reinforcement unknown to collective science. The figure gestured to others, directing operations with confident authority. Through his high-resolution visual feed, Calvran could see the name stenciled on her helmet. CHEN. An alert flashed on his console. One of Io's frequent radiation storms approached, the kind that should force all exterior operations to cease. Instead, he watched in astonishment as the human named Chen and her team continued working, modifying their equipment on the fly as radiation levels climbed. Reroute power from sectors 3 through 7. Chen's voice came through on his intercepted communications. We've got 8 minutes before the main wave hits, and the tap needs to be stabilized. Maya, the protocols say to evacuate at these levels. Another human protested. Protocols are for people who haven't considered all possibilities, Chen replied. If that geothermal tap fails during the storm, we lose 30% of colony power for weeks. 4 minutes of exposure at these levels is within safety margins. Calvran watched in disbelief. The collective would deploy automated systems or sacrificial drones in such conditions. Never organic beings. He accessed the colony's database through their surprisingly minimal security, discovering records that explained their presence. Earth, their homeworld, was experiencing increasing solar radiation, making their planet gradually uninhabitable. Rather than accepting extinction, they had launched a desperate colonization effort of their own solar system's moons and planets. Engineering isn't about having the right tools, Maya told her apprentice as they worked on a complex junction box, improvising with components clearly designed for different purposes. It's about making the wrong tools work anyway. A sudden alarm blared through the feed. The geothermal tap was destabilizing faster than predicted. Everyone back to the airlock, Maya ordered. I'll finish the bypass. There's no time, her apprentice argued. Then make time, she replied simply, continuing her work as the others retreated. The radiation storm intensified. Calvran's instruments registered a structural failure in the platform beneath Maya. A plume of sulfurous gas erupted through the breach. Her suit's integrity compromised, Maya remained focused on the task, fingers moving with deliberate precision, while her oxygen levels plummeted. She completed the final connection, stabilizing the geothermal tap just as the platform began to collapse. Calvran's training evaporated in that moment. The Great Silence Protocol had stood for 10 millennia, but he could not watch this remarkable being die when he had the power to intervene. His ship's manipulator field activated, stretching toward the failing platform where Maya struggled to reach the airlock. The invisible force surrounded her just as the structure gave way completely. As he pulled her to safety, Calvran knew his 6th-century career had ended. Yet watching this human, this engineer who had accomplished the impossible with improvised tools and sheer determination, he couldn't bring himself to regret his decision. The collective had been monitoring thousands of species across the galaxy. How had they missed the remarkable potential of these humans? And more troublingly, why had Arch-Monitors Xtalia seemed unsurprised by their existence? Holding Maya Chen's unconscious form in his ship's medical chamber, Calvran made a decision that would change the course of galactic history. The humans deserved to be heard. Maya Chen awoke in an environment her training had never prepared her for. The chamber was filled with a translucent, breathable liquid that somehow didn't trigger her drowning response. Beyond the curved walls of her containment pod, a being unlike anything in human records observed her with multifaceted eyes. Her engineering mind immediately cataloged details. 4-limbed, but with additional appendages along the torso, azure skin with bioluminescent patterns, and manipulators with triple-jointed digits. Not hostile. If it were, she would be dead. not being treated. The liquid drained, and Maya took her first breath of alien air. "You have remarkable physiological adaptability," the being said in perfect English. "Most species would reject the oxygenated suspension. Necessity is the mother of adaptation," Maya replied calmly. "You're the anomalous object our sensors detected. I am Senior Observer Calvran of the Galactic Collective. I have violated our most sacred protocol by revealing myself to you." Before Maya could respond, a heavy door slid open. Colony Director Marcus Okafor entered, flanked by 2 security officers. His weathered face betrayed no surprise at the alien presence. "Took you folks long enough to say hello," Marcus said, nodding to Calvran. "We've been expecting visitors for decades." Calvran's bioluminescent patterns flashed in what Maya interpreted as confusion. "That should be impossible. Your species has been under no official observation." Marcus smiled thinly. "Follow me, Observer. There's something you should see." In the colony's secure command center, Marcus activated a holographic display showing dozens of small devices, spherical probes with distinctive designs. "We found the first one in lunar orbit in 2083. Initially thought it was asteroid debris, until we noticed it was moving against orbital patterns. Since then, we've located 37 similar devices throughout our system." Calvran's patterns pulsed rapidly. "Unauthorized observation platforms. But whoa. We've been watching you watch us for quite some time," Marcus continued. "We recovered 3 functional units, reverse-engineered enough to understand their purpose. Recognize your ship's design profile immediately." Maya studied Calvran's reaction. "You didn't know these existed, did you?" "This violates all collective protocols," Calvran confirmed, distress evident in his movements. A technician burst into the room. "Director, high-energy signatures detected approaching the system. Configuration unknown, but they're using the same propulsion signature as the observer's vessel." Calvran's illumination patterns darkened. "Impossible. I received no notification of additional observers." His personal communication device activated. Arch Monitor Zextalia's voice filled the room. "Observer Calvran, you are hereby detained for protocol violation. The assessment team will sanitize your contamination. Remain in place." The alien's patterns shifted to what Maya recognized as alarm. "Those aren't observers. That's a containment squad. They're coming to eliminate your colonies." Marcus showed no surprise, only grim determination. "Defense Chief OC, activate contingency Helios." Throughout the Jovian system, thousands of previously dormant satellites simultaneously powered up, creating a defensive grid far more advanced than their colony's apparent technology level should allow. "We've prepared for both diplomatic and hostile first contact scenarios," Marcus explained. "We preferred the former." Calvran stared at the humans in disbelief. "You anticipated this. How?" "Human history taught us caution," Maya said simply. "When Europeans discovered indigenous peoples on other continents, first contact rarely ended well for the discovered civilization." On the main screen, the approaching collective vessel slowed as it detected the activated defense grid. A stern female voice transmitted across all frequencies. "Unidentified defensive systems. This is Containment Vessel Absolute Doctrine. Power down immediately or face neutralization." Colony Defense Chief Amara Osai, a former Earth Special Forces commander, stepped forward. Her reply was transmitted to the approaching vessel. "Collective vessel, this is humanity. We know you're not here to talk. That's disappointing. We'd prefer diplomacy, but we've prepared for alternatives. Your choice." Calvran looked from the humans to his communication device, then made his decision. "I must warn the tribunal of Zextalia's deception. Will you grant me passage back to collective space?" Marcus and Maya exchanged glances. "On one condition," Maya said. "Take me with you." It's time the collective heard directly from the species they never expected to find. The grand chamber of the collective tribunal hummed with tension. 17 holographic figures, representatives of the founding species, towered above the physical attendees. Calvran stood alone in the center, his posture rigid despite his advanced age. "Observer Calvran," intoned the Philax representative, a crystalline entity whose voice resonated through the chamber. "You stand accused of protocol violation of the highest order, unscheduled observation, unauthorized contact, interference with an unregistered species." Calvran's bioluminescent patterns remained steady. "Honored Tribunal, I acknowledge my violations, but I contest the characterization of humanity as unregistered. Evidence suggests they have been under unauthorized observation for decades." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. The Solrethi delegate, a massive gelatinous form, pulsed with indignation. "Absurd. No sanctioned observation was ever authorized for System G7329. "Precisely my point," Calvran replied. "The observation was unsanctioned. Arch Monitor Zextalia has been conducting operations outside tribunal oversight." The evidence Calvran presented was damning. Records of probe deployments, surveillance data spanning decades, and most disturbing, preliminary plans for species containment dated years before his discovery. "Most revealing," Calvran continued, "is the response to my contact. Zextalia deployed a containment squad without tribunal authorization. A containment squad that, I must emphasize, was neutralized by humans using non-lethal methods when they could have easily destroyed the vessel. They disabled a collective military vessel." The Drath representative's feathered crest rose in alarm. "Using technology reverse-engineered from our own observation probes," Calvran confirmed. "They showed restraint where we showed none." The chamber erupted in overlapping arguments. Amid the chaos, every communication system in the Grand Chamber simultaneously activated. The holographic representatives flickered as their projections were temporarily hijacked. A new figure materialized among them, a human female in a simple pressure suit, her dark hair pulled back, eyes focused and determined. "Pardon the interruption," Maya Chen began, her voice cutting through the confusion. "But since you're discussing our fate, we thought we should participate." The chamber fell silent. Such an infiltration of tribunal systems was unprecedented. "This is outrageous," the Philax representative protested. "How did you access this secure network?" Maya smiled slightly. "The communication device Calvran left behind. Fascinating technology. We made some improvements." She gestured, and the chamber's main display filled with data, collective archival records that should have been inaccessible to any outsider. "While decoding your communication protocols, we discovered something interesting. Records of 12 species classified as anomalous development patterns, all deemed potential threats to collective stability, all now extinct, following natural disasters that your own records show were engineered." The Solrathi representative's form pulsed rapidly. "This is classified information. How dare you? How dare we know the truth?" Maya interrupted. "That's the real protocol violation, isn't it? Not contact with developing species, but elimination of those that don't follow your expected technological progression." The Tribune's protests died as Maya displayed evidence of planetary extinctions disguised as natural events, all targeting civilizations that developed along unpredicted technological paths. "We're not here to threaten you," Maya continued, her voice softening. "We're here to save you from yourselves. This policy of extinction has cost the galaxy immeasurable innovation and diversity. 12 unique perspectives on existence, gone forever." She looked directly at Calvran, whose illumination patterns showed his shock at these revelations. "Humanity requests formal recognition as a sentient species with rights under collective law. We also request a full investigation into these extinction events and the implementation of protective measures for all developing civilizations." The tribunal chamber descended into chaos once more, but Maya's image remained steady, a calm presence amid the storm her revelations had unleashed. In the confusion, no one noticed a small notification on Calvran's personal device. "Arch Monitor Zextalia has deployed the regional fleet. Destination: Sol System." The collective headquarters sprawled across an artificial planetoid, Its architecture, a harmonious blend of 17 distinct cultural influences. Maya Chen and Marcus Okafor, granted the unprecedented status of provisional observers, follow their escort through corridors designed for beings of wildly varying physiologies. "I still can't believe they agreed to this," Marcus whispered. "They didn't agree," Maya replied quietly. "They're containing us, keeping us where they can watch us while they decide our fate." Their guide, a spindly Trelvan archivist, stopped before an unmarked doorway. "Someone wishes to meet you privately," the archivist said, voice modulator producing flawless English. "This meeting is unofficial." Inside, they found a younger member of Calvran's species, bioluminescent patterns pulsing with nervous energy. "I am Liuvran, senior archivist of pre-contact civilizations," the alien introduced themselves. "Also, offspring of Calvran, though we have been estranged for some time." "Why risk meeting us?" Maya asked directly. "Because what you revealed in the tribunal is merely the surface layer of a much darker truth." Liuvran extended a manipulator, offering a data crystal. "This contains information even most collective citizens don't know. The tribunal must be in chaos to have allowed you access to this facility." The crystal contained historical records dating back 50,000 years, far beyond what Maya had accessed through her hack of the collective systems. The collective wasn't founded as a peaceful union, Liuvran explained while they reviewed the data. It formed as a victory coalition after the Severance War devastated half the galaxy. The 17 founding species weren't allies. They were the survivors who established dominance. Marcus studied the ancient battle maps with a tactician's eye. And the Great Silence Protocol. Never about protecting developing species, Liuvran confirmed. It was designed to prevent the emergence of any civilization that might develop unpredictable technology, potentially gaining military advantages against established powers. 12 extinct civilizations, Maya said softly, all eliminated because they didn't follow expected developmental patterns. Like humanity, Marcus added. "We colonized our system without FTL technology because we had no choice. Earth is slowly dying." Liuvran's patterns shifted to what Maya now recognized as sadness. "My research suggests those 12 species had similarly unique pressures driving their innovation. The collective destroyed precisely what it should have been preserving: diversity of approach." Meanwhile, on Earth, Lieutenant Commander David Chen, Maya's brother, faced his own crisis. Earth Defense Force headquarters buzzed with tension as reports came in from the Jupiter colonies about first contact. "We need to accelerate Project Prometheus," insisted Admiral Karlov, slamming his fist on the conference table. "If these aliens have been watching us for decades without making contact, they can't be trusted." "My sister reports they're in negotiations," David countered. "Weaponizing collective technology now could jeopardize everything." "Your sister might already be compromised," another officer suggested. "We need to secure humanity's future, not gamble it on diplomatic niceties." David left the meeting troubled. In the secured laboratory levels below, he used his clearance to examine the Project Prometheus prototypes. The weapons systems, ostensibly designed from theoretical principles, looked suspiciously like actual collective technology. His suspicions led him to the project director's office after hours. The encrypted files he found confirmed his fears. Someone had been supplying Earth defense with advanced alien technology for years. The signature on the authorization documents belonged to a name he'd heard from Maya's reports: Zextalia. The implications were staggering. A faction within the collective had been secretly arming humans, creating a military capability that could threaten collective worlds, the perfect pretext for justifiable extinction. As David downloaded evidence of the conspiracy, a shadow fell across the doorway. "Finding everything you need," Commander Chen asked a voice he recognized as Admiral Karlov's. "I'm afraid I can't let you leave with that information." Behind the Admiral stood two beings that were definitely not human, their forms partially concealed by shimmer fields. "You're working with them," David realized. "Why?" Some conflicts are inevitable. Karlov smiled coldly. Better they happen on our terms. The hidden facility on Europa operated outside both Earth and collective authority. Built within a massive ice cavern, its existence was known to fewer than 50 individuals across the solar system. Here, Calvran and Maya Chen had assembled an unlikely coalition, 7 representatives from lesser collective species and a dozen of humanity's most brilliant engineers. What we're doing violates every protocol, Calvran reminded the assembled group, his bioluminescence reflecting off the ice walls. If discovered, we all face severe consequences. Some rules deserve to be broken. Maya replied, activating the central holographic display, especially ones designed to prevent precisely what we're attempting: genuine cooperation across species. Each alien delegate represented a civilization struggling under the collective's technological stratification, species deemed stable, but continually denied access to advanced technology under the guise of cultural preservation. Their real crime was simply joining the collective too late to be among the founding 17. We'll start with an exchange, Maya explained. No technological superiority, no condescension, just different approaches to similar problems. Nixtel, a scientist from the low-gravity CD species, displayed images of her homeworld. Once resource-rich, now struggling with ecosystem collapse after millennia of inefficient extraction methods permitted by the collective's technological restrictions. Our atmosphere thins by 2% every cycle, she explained, multiple eye stalks drooping in distress. Traditional mining techniques can no longer reach the necessary depths without destabilizing our crustal plates. Maya nodded to a human engineer who projected schematics for a system that seemed deceptively simple, a vibrational drilling method developed for Europa's ice crust. We call it resonance extraction, the engineer explained. Instead of brute force, we map the natural harmonic frequencies of surrounding materials and drill using counter-frequencies that leave supporting structures intact. Nixtel studied the schematics, eye stalks rigid with attention. This would work on CD Prime, with minimal adaptation. Her translator couldn't fully convey the emotion in her native clicks and whistles. Why would you share this freely? Because that's what humans do, Maya responded simply. We survive by helping each other survive. One by one, the delegates presented their world's critical challenges: atmospheric degradation, energy inefficiency, medical limitations. For each, humanity offered solutions developed not from superior knowledge, but from necessity. Technologies born from the pressure of having to adapt quickly to Earth's deteriorating conditions and the hostile environments of their solar system colonies. In return, the alien scientists shared approaches humans had never considered: biological computing, gravity manipulation, materials science beyond Earth's periodic table. The exchange created a cascade of innovations, each insight triggering new possibilities. This is what the collective fears, Calvran observed quietly to Maya, as they watched a myriad engineer and a human physicist excitedly modeling a new type of shield technology. Not conquest or violence, but true collaboration that renders their control obsolete. The facility's alarm abruptly shattered their productive session. A technician rushed in, face pale. We've been discovered. Collected vessels are approaching Europa. They're demanding immediate shutdown of all unauthorized technological exchange. On the main screen, Arch monitor Zextalia's face appeared, her expression cold. This facility violates 17 separate protocols. All non-human participants will be remanded to collective custody for rehabilitation. Human participants will be. Maya cut the transmission. They know what we're doing, which means we've already succeeded. The knowledge can't be contained now. She'll eliminate the Europa colony to destroy the evidence, Calvran warned. Maya's smile was grim but determined. She'll try, but while she was hunting for this facility, Marcus has been broadcasting everything we've learned to every collective world simultaneously. Zextalia can't suppress what's already spreading across hundreds of planets. On the display, half the approaching collective fleet suddenly changed course. Breaking formation. What's happening? Next, Hell asked. They're receiving the broadcasts, Calvran explained, patterns flashing with something akin to hope. They're refusing orders. Maya nodded. Zextelia's power was always built on controlled information. We just shattered that control. The Sol system defense grid activated as Zextelia's remaining loyal ships approached Jupiter. On Earth, Lieutenant Commander David Chen coordinated the response from a hastily established command center, having narrowly escaped Admiral Karlov's conspirators with evidence of their treachery. Status report, David demanded, scanning the tactical display. 11 collective vessels maintaining attack formation, his second-in-command reported. 5 have broken off and are holding position beyond Neptune's orbit. They appear to be refusing orders. David studied the approaching fleet's energy signatures. Deploy countermeasures according to Maya's specifications. Throughout the system, defense platforms awakened, revealing capabilities that shocked even the collective allies who had defected. The human defense grid incorporated technologies reverse-engineered from the derelict collective scout ship found decades earlier, but modified in ways that rendered them almost unrecognizable. They're deploying a dispersal field, a technician called out, attempting to neutralize our targeting systems. David's expression remained calm. Switch to gravitational tracking. They can mask energy signatures but not mass displacement. On the primary display, Jupiter's swirling clouds reflected the brief flashes of energy weapons fire as the first wave of collective ships engaged the defensive grid. Their tactics followed standard collective doctrine, predictable attack patterns optimized by millennia of warfare simulations. They're vectoring toward the Europa facility, David noted. Divert defensive units 3 through 7 to intercept. A sudden alert flashed across all monitors. Deep within Jupiter's atmosphere, energy readings spiked dramatically. Sir, they've activated something inside Jupiter, some kind of reaction catalyst. David's eyes widened in recognition. The planet killer weapon. They're trying to trigger a cascading fusion reaction in Jupiter's core. He opened a direct channel to Europa. Maya, they're using Jupiter itself as a weapon. On Europa's surface, Maya Chen and a mixed team of human and alien engineers worked frantically on an exposed platform, racing against time as they connected components to a massive device. We need 10 more minutes, Maya shouted over the howling winds, her suit's thermal systems struggling against Europa's killing cold. Above them, defense platforms intercepted incoming fire from Zextelia's ships, the sky alight with energy discharges. Behind them, Jupiter's clouds began swirling unnaturally as the hidden catalyst initiated a chain reaction deep within the gas giant. If Jupiter transitions to fusion state, the radiation burst will sterilize everything within 500 million kilometers, Calvran warned, his manipulators working alongside Maya's gloved hands. We won't have 10 minutes. Then we work faster, Maya replied simply, connecting power conduits with practiced precision. The device, a modified shield generator combining human improvisational design with collective foundational principles, represented their only hope. If successful, it would project a gravitational lens capable of redirecting the imminent energy burst. 5 minutes to criticality, came David's voice over the comms. Maya, we've diverted everything we can to buy you time, but you need to hurry. On her helmet display, Maya saw the defensive grid failing under concentrated fire from Zextelia's flagship. Several human outposts had already gone dark. Almost there, she responded, making the final connections. Nixtel, initiate power sequence. The SETI scientist activated the prototype, her eye stalks rigid with concentration. The massive device hummed to life, projecting an invisible field toward Jupiter's churning surface. It's working, Calvran announced, monitoring the readings. The gravitational lens is forming. In that moment, a blast from Zextelia's flagship penetrated the defensive screen. The platform shuddered violently, knocking several engineers off their feet. Critical components sparked and failed. Manual calibration required, Maya announced grimly, pulling herself toward the damaged section. Someone needs to align the field projector directly. That means exposure to unshielded radiation once Jupiter ignites, Calvran protested. Maya continued working. I know. Get everyone else back inside. I'm staying, Nixtel declared, moving to help. My species evolved in high radiation. I can withstand more than you. As the others retreated to safety, Maya and Nixtel worked together in perfect synchrony, a human and alien united by a common purpose, racing against extinction. Above them, Zextalia's flagship prepared for the killing blow. As Zextalia's flagship targeted the exposed platform on Europa, a small, unarmed transport vessel suddenly appeared in its path. The vessel broadcast on all frequencies. This is Senior Observer Calvran, and Archivist Livran to all collective vessels. We stand as witnesses. The broadcast carried real-time imagery of Maya Chen and Nixtel working together on the damaged shield generator, human and alien united against extinction. We were wrong about them. Calvran continued, his voice reaching every ship in the system. They could destroy us all, but instead they're saving everyone, even those who came to eliminate them. If that doesn't prove their worth, nothing will. Zextalia's response was immediate. Remove that vessel from my path. The contagion must be contained. But her order met silence. One by one, the remaining loyal ships powered down their weapon systems. The broadcast had achieved what no military strategy could. It had reached the conscience of individual collective citizens who could no longer pretend this was about protocol or security. On Europa's surface, Maya and Nixtel completed the final calibrations just as Jupiter's atmosphere began to glow with unnatural energy. The shield generator activated fully, creating a gravitational lens that redirected the massive energy burst from the destabilized gas giant. Instead of expanding outward to sterilize the system, the energy was channeled into Jupiter's great red spot, creating a controlled nova that disabled the remaining hostile ships without destroying them. The modified shield expanded further, enveloping not just the human settlements, but also the disabled collective vessels, protecting all life equally from the radiation aftermath. 3 months later, the grand chamber of the collective looked markedly different. The imposing holographic displays of the 17 founding species had been replaced by a circular arrangement where all members, founding and newer alike, sat as equals. Maya Chen stood before this reformed council, her formal collective diplomatic attire modified with subtle elements of human design. Behind her stood representatives from Earth and the colonies, alongside Calvran, Livran, and Nick's telephone. The silence protocol was a mistake from the beginning, Maya stated, her voice carrying the quiet authority she had earned. Evolution thrives on diversity, of species, of ideas, of technological approaches. We suggest replacing silence with symphony. The council voted unanimously to adopt a new paradigm. The reformed collective would carefully contact developing species, offering knowledge exchange while preserving their cultural independence. The 12 extinct, anomalous civilizations were formally memorialized, their eradication acknowledged as a grievous wrong. Zextalia and her conspirators faced justice, not elimination, but the assignment to study and document the unique innovations of emerging civilizations, forced to confront the very diversity they had feared. 6 months later, the first joint human collective expedition prepared to make contact with a promising young civilization in the Cetus Arm. The vessel, named Symphony, carried representatives from 12 species including humanity. On Europa's icy surface, Maya stood watching Jupiter's swirling storms, now calmed after the controlled nova. David joined her, recovered from injuries sustained during the battle. "Are you afraid?" he asked quietly. "The responsibilities we've taken on. It's unprecedented. I'm terrified," Maya admitted, her breath forming clouds in Europa's thin atmosphere. "But that's always been humanity's secret weapon. We're never more innovative than when we're afraid but refuse to let fear stop us." As Symphony departed, Carrying the legacy of both human ingenuity and collective wisdom, it broadcast a new message to replace the silence that had dominated for millennia. You are not alone, and together, we can build something greater than any of us could imagine. Across the galaxy, countless developing civilizations continued their unique evolutionary journeys, unaware that the cosmic silence had been shattered by an unexpected species, one that had refused extinction and transformed fear into its greatest strength.